After the success of Jolly LLB back in 2013, what began as a sharp, grounded courtroom drama slowly evolved, or rather drifted, into something entirely different. The franchise turned into a platform where the same actors played different characters, and while that might have sounded like an interesting experiment, it ended up creating more inconsistency than intrigue. What originally worked because of its realism and character depth is now weighed down by star power and spectacle. Jolly LLB 3 is a prime example of what happens when a big star hijacks a project. Let's not forget Arshad Warsi is the heart of this franchise. He's the reason the first film worked so well. His raw underdog energy gave Jolly LLB its soul. It's painful to see how he's been pushed aside in this third installment. If Arshad hadn't made the first film so iconic, there wouldn't even be a franchise today. Yet here we are, watching him play second fiddle while all the major moments, dialogues and emotional beats are handed to Akshay Kumar. It's not just disappointing, it's disrespectful. Whenever Arshad's Jolly gets mocked or pushed into a corner in court, it's Akshay's character who swoops in to save the day. The most powerful courtroom speech is Akshay. The funniest lines, mostly Akshay. Again, this isn't to say that Akshay was bad. He's actually pretty solid in his role. But Arshad is criminally underutilized. It's like having a legendary player on your team and keeping them benched the whole game. And that's not the film's only problem. Right from the beginning, Jolly LLB 3 makes some questionable creative choices. The opening case involves a transgender fraudster played for laughs, and that immediately sets the wrong tone. It's 2025 and yet mainstream commercial cinema is still punching down for cheap humor. As a society, we may already be lagging in terms of acceptance and inclusivity. But when artists, filmmakers in this case, stoop in that level, it reflects something much deeper. This kind of representation isn't just lazy, it's damaging. And the worst part is, it was completely avoidable. They could have told that story in a dozen other ways, without resorting to stereotypes. The core plot this time centers around illegal land acquisition by multinational corporations, how big companies exploit farmers and manipulate the system to their benefit. It's a high-stakes issue with real-world relevance, but the film doesn't handle it with seriousness or detail it deserves. Instead of diving deep into courtroom arguments, evidence, and legal strategies, the story leans heavily on emotion and over-the-top monologues. It becomes more about preaching than practicing law. The original Jolly LLB worked so well because of how grounded it felt, how hard Arshad's character had to work to uncover the truth. Here that grit is missing. It all ends up feeling like a shallow debate between socialism and capitalism without offering any real insight. The film tries to paint a black and white picture, rich bad, poor good, but the reality is much more complex. Farmers are, of course, vital to any society, but industries and corporations, when run ethically, are also pillars of national growth. It's not about choosing one over the other, it's about finding balance. Unfortunately, the film seems uninterested in nuance, and then there are some scenes that just make you scratch your head, like that bizarre sequence before the interval, a car race and camels on the same track. What were they trying to prove with that? It was absurd, tone deaf, and peak stereotype moment that just didn't belong in this film. Equally pointless was the whole romantic subplot involving a judge going on dates. It added nothing to the narrative and only served as a filler. At over 2 hours, this film didn't need more padding, it needed more focus. That said, the film isn't without its positives. The comedy does land in several places. The back and forth between Akshay and Arshad is genuinely entertaining. When they are allowed to share the screen and play off each other, it works really well. The chemistry is strong and some of the courtroom banter is sharp and funny. Both actors clearly gave their best to the material they were given. One subtle but powerful moment that stood out to me was Seema Biswas' character. She barely has any dialogue, yet her silent presence speaks volumes. She plays a farmer's wife and her silence feels symbolic, almost like a reflection of how unheard and overlooked real-life farmers often are. That kind of storytelling, though rare in this film, was quietly effective. What didn't work so well was the supporting cast. Talented actors like Ram Kapoor and Gajraj Rao barely got anything to do. They are in the film, yes, but their characters are thinly written, with little screen time and significance. Even the assistants to the two Jollies, who played memorable roles in previous films, have been replaced, and they are almost invisible now. That chemistry, that dynamic is sorely missed. In the end, Jolly LLB 3 is an uneven film. It has its moments, some laughs, a few strong performances, and important themes, but it fails to live up to the legacy of the original. Instead of staying true to what made Jolly LLB special, sharp writing, tight courtroom drama, and compelling underdog storytelling, it tries to be louder, flashier, and ultimately more shallow. If you're going in expecting something to the level of the first film, you might walk out disappointed. Still, if you're just looking for something light to watch and you keep your expectations in check, it's not a complete waste of time. There are a few laughs, and Akshay and Arshad performances do carry the film through its rough patches. It's a one-time watch, but definitely not return to form this franchise needed. Thanks for watching the review. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more honest takes. I'll see you in the next one.